It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, it's gonna get exciting and a little bit spicy. It's time to go off the record. Now, it's no secret, I tried to make that as dramatic as I could. It's no secret that Hollywood's brightest stars have gone through great measures to maintain their youthful looks as they age. However, many have been disastrous and led to a few majorly botched results. Now, recently, there has been a trend with many of them reversing certain procedures. The most recent and probably most publicized being Black China, who has gone back to her birth name, Angela White. Well, today, our panel consists of media personality Carissa Cupido and medical doctor, intuitive and shamanic guide, Dr. Leda Sadin, to help us explore this trending topic from some very cool angles. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
I might not seem like the most attuned person to talk about this, but I absolutely love this stuff. I'll drift down like the Instagram vortex.
Absolutely.
There is something about seeing where the world is right now that's just crazy. We are so polarized. There is this push almost to return to the individual, which has got to be a good thing for young people, but we need to understand what is going on first. So exotic dancer turned reality star Black China is no stranger to the spotlight. From the beef with the Kardashians, obviously, to her on-camera blow-ups. She has been dubbed Hollywood's most controversial figure, or at least one of them. However, recent news about her paints in a slightly different light. And I think maybe, Carissa, a good place to start is with you to explain to us the transition that this young lady is going through.
Of course, Miss Angela White, man. I absolutely love the 180 that she's done. It's been actually quite interesting to witness the change. And I would say even the growth. A lot of people, I don't know if they would agree and say that it's growth, but she really has gone from, if you can imagine, being a body double for Nicki Minaj in her music videos to, of course, creating an adult account on OF for OnlyFans, to make money for her kids that she has, and really has used her body as a way and a means to make
commercial,
money.
yeah, it's a commercial entity.
For commercial gain. And now she has gone through a transformation of going, you know what, my wellness is important. I've found God, and I need to just make a change as to how I approach life. So she's gone ahead, I think she was under for like 9 hours to dissolve what was in her body. She's going through a process of dissolving what's in her face, and she's been, like you said, very public about this journey, which we haven't seen. The Kardashians did a reversal, and it was undercover, right?
But in a way, it speaks to where the world is right now, a gateway that we are maybe all going to be pushed through. But let's take a look at a certain interview that Angela did with TMZ as she now tries to explain why she decided to do it all. Take a look.
You know what, for me, honestly, I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know? And I just honestly wasn't living my life right, so I was just attracting all this negativity, and I wanted to honestly dig deep and really see, like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I even here? Why am I here on earth? And just really find myself, because, you know, being in the industry for so long, you will lose yourself. So I wanted to get back to myself and, you know, become a better mom, a better friend, be more spiritual, more business savvy, and really show the real person that I am, and not this persona that I was putting on.
Hey, don't mistake fame for success, not in a heartbeat. I love this. Maybe, Doc, I can put this, because I saw you nodding your head a few times there. There were a couple of beautiful affirmations. For me, what really jumped out, and this is something that seems to be the common thread with everyone, the why.
Yeah.
Maybe COVID gave us that. It forced us to ask ourselves the why. What about that little exchange gave you such positive, warm and fuzzy feelings? Because I could feel that energy.
I think the idea of coming back to oneself, you know, we get so lost in this colonization of beauty in the world, you know, like this is what beauty is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And when you're living in a world where you're looking for self-love and validation and you want to be seen for who you are, it's so easy to jump on the bandwagon that says, well, it's very simple. You have high cheekbones and big lips and a big bum, and then you'll be loved.
Yeah, you follow a trend on TikTok or Instagram, and you're going to get 500 likes, and suddenly you feel validated.
Exactly. Or you look like someone else who's now famous and validated. And then you go down that road and you lose yourself, and then one day you realize what you've been looking for all this time, you've actually been going in the wrong direction, and more of you is invisible.
I love the fact that there is a focus now on the individual and what makes us special in that space, because I can imagine how many disenfranchised, disconnected young people there are in the world, and I think a lot of this is a natural pushback to that. Celebrities' lives playing out in that way, so vocally, where it's so easy for a young person to catch on to a trend like that. When you see the flip side, are we going to see the same kind of viral uptake on people wanting to do this? Is this easy for us to jump on and say, okay, no, actually, because she's had the guts to do this, I'm going to return to my core, my natural being? Or is this just a blip on the radar? Are we going to see 1,000 more young women, young men pretending to be someone else on Instagram and TikTok to get that validation? How do you see this playing out?
I think that she set a really good example. And I also really love the fact that she was like, it's not that I was sick or anything like that that pushed me. It's the fact that I was finding myself. And I think at the core of it, that truly is what it is. There's a big push against, like you were saying, the colonization of beauty. I mean, if you think about beauty standards throughout the ages, it changes from decade to decade. And often for women, we fall trap and we try to squeeze and manipulate our bodies.
Squeeze with whalebone and
you know, all these different things to fit a beauty standard that's forever shifting. So how are you enough when that's the standard, you know? So I think there's definitely a move towards anti-beauty, a move towards individual beauty. And I mean, shout out to Lizzo, a move towards self-beauty and expression of your own kind of beauty. I think that that's the direction, I'm hoping at least, that we're going in.
Well, the joy is we get to create it. We get to create it literally right now. You want to know what trends are going to be coming up in the future, you create them. That's how it works. And we love the fact that this conversation is happening from a different lens. If you have a personal perspective that you'd like to share about striving to connect with yourself, finding your own identity, getting your own name back, we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'd love to hear from you. 063 408 8863. This is how you address pop culture.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's off the record today, so you can say whatever you want. No, you can't. It's still a safe place. It's still Breakfast TV, but we are having a lot of fun with this one. We are covering celebrities who have decided to reverse cosmetic procedures they'd had done. Most recently, obviously, we're talking about Black China, following the likes of Cardi B, Paris Hilton, some massive names. Some been quite public about it, some under the radar, like the Kardashians. Well, our panel, media personality Carissa Cupido and medical doctor, intuitive and shamanic guide, Dr. Layla Sadin, are back to unpack this conversation. Now let's take a look at the effects of cosmetic procedures and what it takes to reverse them. This is a big thing. This is a bit of a watershed moment in your life, Doctor.
Absolutely.
You were on that side. You were that person, were you not? You were running, as I understand it, a very successful practice and have done a 180-degree turn, or have you? Please explain to us where you stand in your own life path.
Yeah, I mean, with aesthetics, when I started it, it was a beautiful healing modality. You know, you could take somebody through a complete transformation in how they felt about themselves. And so while I was exploring healing, it was an incredible way to build into my integrated practice.
Sure.
And then over time, as I navigated my own awakening and natural healing, and my practice became more of a natural medicine clinic, it was okay for a while, because actually a lot of aesthetic medicine is still natural medicine. You know, it's not actually chemical, it's not actually toxic, and so it was fine. But then I began to see that so many women who were coming because of that self-love thing. And this was their quick fix, this was their symptom relief, you know? And when you can give someone such a rewarding drug to fill a deep, deep void, they keep coming back for more. So it's great for business. But what does it do to the soul, you know? And so the integrity that I had to live with, I couldn't hold that anymore. And that's how it ended. But I say ended to a point where it evolved. Absolutely, it evolved.
And it has to, because there is, and I think this is part of the problem with being a human being right now, is there's good and bad in everything. The same things that are polarizing us are also giving young people an opportunity to completely change their life. So when we see something like this, and the fact that Black China's returned to her natural name, that in itself is a beautiful notion. What that means to her is probably only going to be known to her. But what it means to the rest of the world is here we're sitting, an opportunity for some guy in South Africa to sit and talk about this in a meaningful way. Do you think we're going to see this being taken on by other celebrities in that space, in the sense of them understanding that the world is watching? She knows that other young girls are watching her, other young black girls are watching her, and she needs to represent that. The most important being her own daughter. How important is this for young women and women in the celebrity space who often don't seem to have a choice?
Exactly. And I mean, it's hard for any woman, but of course, we've got a very public-facing career being in the media and broadcasting space. I think you can't be what you can't see, right? Representation really matters. And to her daughter, Dream, it's huge. I mean, I was telling Layla earlier that she was saying how she's a sponge and she just looks up to her mother in every single step that she makes. So she almost had a responsibility to do that. And I really hope that celebrities catch on to that responsibility too. A global responsibility of having a platform. It's not for everybody, of course. Some people have aspirational careers. Others really try to reach deeper. Again, to reference Lizzo, I think she's really taken that on beautifully and boldly to say that I'm enough, and in my fullness of my body, it is more than enough. Drew Barrymore's another example who has gone anti-aging, just refused any sort of Botox, etc. And it's really beautiful and encouraging for me to see, because I don't know what the next 10 years hold for my face, but just to have the options there for me is really great.
You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You got good genes, girl. So I'm going to have to get used to calling her Angela, but she did share more about her procedures themselves on her social media platforms. Let's hear from her directly.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm at the doctor's office right now, and as y'all know, I've been changing my life and changing my ways. So one of the things that I feel like is going to take me to the next level is obviously taking some of these ass shots out. And by the way, ass shots and the BBL is totally different, and I'm going to tell you why. A BBL is when they use your own fat. Ass shots is silicone. So I just want all the ladies out there to know, do not get silicone shots, because you can get sick, you can die, have complications, and all this other crazy stuff. I haven't had any crazy complications since I got it. I got it when I was 19 years old. But now I'm moving here in life. So I want this out of my ass so I can grow.
I love it, man. She's the only one who is allowed to say that on Breakfast TV, by the way, okay? Layla, I mean, we've got to see this. If I could ask you to depart us with some words here, if you look at the bigger picture, because I think that's very much the angle that you take now. What do you say to a young woman especially? I know there are young men going through this as well, but a young woman who is struggling with her own identity that might fall victim to following in the footsteps of a celebrity that, like many, has had to go back and readdress that before we start that journey. What do you have to say to that young person looking to find their true identity?
You know, we come back to the question why. Like, are you feeling, is there something going on inside of you that needs healing?
Yeah.
Right? And like, can we just move into that conversation around healing? Like, is it truly going to be healing for you to have a bigger bum? In all of your integrity, in all of your being and your intention, you know, then it's sacred. Then go get the bigger bum, you know? But if you know that this is actually, God, I look in the mirror and I feel terrible about myself, or my daddy never loved me, or I can't find a boyfriend, or, you know, or I'm not good enough in the world, then there are so many avenues we can explore now around actually fundamentally healing that. Then heal that, and then go get the bigger bum, you know, or the lips, or the whatever. I think there's just this piece around it being a drug to cover up something else, right?
Completely, yeah.
And if we can get beyond that and then go, okay, well, you know, someone might have a really small, skinny, terrible bum. It might feel great for her to have a bigger bum. Then, of course, the journey goes into, where do you go? Is it safe?
And
have you explored?
So you can do it properly. I think you have to go through that due process. I'll tell you one thing, it is very easy to become despondent when seeing the way the world is going right now. You know, I was joking about TikTok must die now because it's had enough, but I've seen also an entire generation that has been able able to connect to each other, connect to health, connect to mental wellness, connect to physical well-being. There are so many plus points, but most importantly, they have an idea of what they can be now because they can see themselves represented.
100%.
And that's a gift that the world has been given courtesy of social media. Before you knock it, before you want to beat down these crazy trends, understand that if you look at it through a different lens, these are tools that we can use to empower our young women and boys. So please look at it through that lens. And if you need support, there's a tribe. You can talk to people. Just open up and speak, please.